Welcome to Flipped, changing lives one vision at a time. My name is Rachel Rubin, and the reason that we're here, where this was all founded from, is the fact that I was born with a rare condition called bilateral congenital aniridia.
Okay. Whoa. So sorry. Stephanie here, joining you on the podcast today. Can you please say that in very simple terms? Because I guarantee you that 90% of the people listening to this podcast don't know what that is.
90% is being generous,
Yes.
probably 0.05%. The thing about it is, my whole life, I've been confronted with this challenge because my condition is everything but simple. So it is so hard to break it down, but I will do the best job that I can. Basically, in short, when developing, I missed a few steps and my eyes decided not to fully develop, and I'm missing some key components and parts.
So what are some of those key components and part that we're missing here?
Well, the biggest part is what is called the iris. So the iris is the colored part of your eye, which makes your eyes really pretty. Well, it also has a extremely important job, and it opens and closes according to the amount of light to protect your eyes from the light. So when you're in bright sunlight, your irises close so that not so much light comes in, and the reverse happens when you're in a dark room. They open up so you can have as much light as possible.
Mm.
In addition to that, there are all of the rest of the parts of the eye are much more feeble, and they're just a lot, like I said, underdeveloped than
Mhm.
everyone else's.
Mhm. And again, just for everybody listening, congenital means
From birth. So the reason why you say congenital issue is so that you automatically know this was something, basically a birth defect.
So, yeah, here we are with this podcast. Rachel is the founder of the nonprofit organization Flip the Script, and she is rewriting the story around rare congenital eye conditions. We've been asked, now that we've defined congenital, to no longer use the word in this episode.
Okay, so you're gonna kill me because I'm already gonna go off script, which I was told, not that we have a script, but to keep like to the point.
We have an outline.
But I have to say, I am so excited that we're actually here in this moment because I'm a huge dreamer. And Steph, being such a good friend of mine for so long, has been a victim of all of my different dreams and oftentimes has to pay the consequence, even though she is always super supportive of them. But of course, as a dreamer, you can't make them all come true. But this one, she has leaned in hard with me. And the fact that we're actually sitting here doing our first podcast and we have flipped the script, the nonprofit that we have dreamed about for several years now, like this is happening, actually happening.
It's pretty exciting. And in line with flipping the script, I'm not a victim of dreams. I think it's been a really wonderful dream to have, and it's been nice to have a shared dream too, because like you said, I've been here. I've been together. I mean, I think on this journey with you over 10 years now.
But why, Steph? Why have you stuck around this
'Cause I
whole
love
time?
you. Wait, I don't know. Is there another answer?
Just tell people about you. Why are you
Oh,
important? Why are you a key player?
well, it started out as work friends. We just started out working together, but we really got close, and I do have the privilege of being a part of your support team. So, I've been there through all of it with you, through the surgeries, through the appointments, and I work with you, so I get a full picture, that firsthand lived in experience. So, I'm excited. I pushed to be the first guest, actually, if we're being real.
Well, you also knew that I wanted you to be, so come on, let's be clear here. But we do encourage our listeners to visit flipthescript.org website to see our nonprofit, and there you can see our story of how we got started. And when it makes reference to the friend on the story, it's actually Steph.
Yeah, that's me. I'm the friend. Okay. Well, I like that we went off script for a second, but let's get back into it. Rach, give us more of a background of what it's been like. What's been your journey? What's been your reality living with this from birth?
Okay, so to start, I'm an accountant. And I have lost track of
Wait,
the.
you're blind and you're an accountant?
Yeah, well, it wasn't one of my better decisions, but unfortunately, how your brain works and how your eyes work don't always go hand in hand. So, my first accounting class that I took in college, my professor said, "You're either going to love it or you're going to hate it, and you're going to know from here." And I loved it, but I didn't think about how much my eyes would hate it. So, here we are. But I have lost track of the amount of surgeries I've had, so if that tells you anything. In addition, I basically live with the knowledge that I'm more prone to eye infections than the average person. And I do get them pretty frequently because of the fact that I don't have the equipment that others do to prevent and fight them. And in addition, we talked about light sensitivity. So, being that I was born without irises, I am the extreme degree of light sensitivity. One of the best ways this is described is somebody that doesn't have an iris. It's like if you're in a dark movie theater and then you walk out the door into bright sunlight. We're living in the bright sunlight all of the time.
Something I heard recently that I really liked is that vision is a spectrum, blindness is a spectrum.
Yeah.
So, can you tell us where you're at on that spectrum between being able to see everything and being able to see absolutely nothing? Where do you fall currently?
I love that you asked that question. So, I actually feel that one of the reasons I can represent this organization well is because most, I have been on almost every part of the spectrum. I have gone almost completely black blind in my life, and I have had a few months of vision that exceeded the limits for or the starting points of being legally blind. So, just to put it in terms that everybody can understand, if you take somebody with perfect vision, that means 20/20 vision. Okay. What 20/20 vision, that being the perfect level, what I was born with is in one eye, in my better eye, is 2200 vision. So, what that means is when I was born with my best eye, if I was standing 20 feet away from a scene and somebody else with perfect vision was standing 200 feet away from that same scene, so I'm at 20 feet, they're at 200, we would be looking at that scene the same. Now, I have fluctuated in going down. So I've been even close to 2,800. I've even had no vision in one eye before. But currently, I am actually over 2,200 in both eyes. And like I said, I lived for a very short time with one eye having 20/70 vision, which for somebody with my condition is like beyond phenomenal. I did lose that, but I'm in the range right now between 2,100 and 2,200 in each eye. And I am elated to have that. And if that's what I had the rest of my life, I will be winning.
That's really incredible. And that's incredible because what you've been told really in your life is to only expect things to get worse
Yes.
and just be prepared for black blind. So
Yes.
that is actually why that's a very key part of this story is because you didn't take no for an answer.
Yes.
And it's been really nice for me to be able to see that you mentioned that you're an accountant. We work together. I do want to just one side note about all of this. Our clients actually don't know this piece of Rachel's story. We are good about keeping things private. Personal is personal, business is business. And so we've had to have contingency plans for every single level of your vision and at every single level of, what are our deadlines and everything. So it's something I'm really proud of. We've never missed a deadline. We've had half of our staff sometimes in the office and maybe some of us in the hospital before, but we've always been able to make it work. And so I'm really proud of you and I'm proud of us. And that kind of gets us into what we're really wanting to talk about today. We're starting from zero with Flip the Script. Rachel has been able to rewrite her own story, but really other people need this too. So where are we at, Rach, with FlipTheScript.org?
Well, saying that we're at ground zero is perfect because we don't have any programs in place. We want to be fully transparent here. It's all in development stages. But what we do have in place, and personally, what I think, even as a business owner, uh, knowing the thing that leads to the most success with any journey, with anything you're trying to accomplish, is your team. And we already have a team of people that are patients with conditions like mine or other rare conditions that have similar side effects. And we have people on our team that just love us and support us. So, with a passionate, driven team, the things that we are going to accomplish, I think are great. I think we have a big vision.
No
No
pun
pun
intended.
intended. I can't wait to see where we're going to be from a year from now.
Yeah. And we don't have absolutely nothing. I feel like we have the nonprofit starter pack. I mean, we do have a logo,
Yes.
have this big dream.
Yes.
We have a podcast mic.
We have a website that's fully
We have a
developed.
website. We have a sound engineer, Jackie. She's amazing, who also brings us and makes us lots of coffee. So we're not as far behind as you would think either. So
Yes.
I think we've got this going.
We have the foundation made,
Mm-hmm.
and so now it's just time to build.
Yep. And part of building is not just our story or Rachel's story, it really is our listener story as well, because this is not a one size fits all movement. I think that's probably something that we have both really seen is
Yes.
that there's a lot of nuances. What we do know is that people need practical help, they need financial help, they need
Emotional.
emotional. So all of those things are across the board, and we're gonna, get into that later. But we really want the listeners to help us formulate what this nonprofit looks like in the programs that we offer, because we want it to benefit you.
And the one size fits all mentality is exactly what we want to go against, because that's really what often the healthcare system does is they want to put people in buckets, and every person with a condition that is rare, even if you have the same condition, you're different from the next person.
Mhm.
And so the last thing that we're trying to do is to put everyone in that same bucket or assume everyone's the same in that way. We want to make sure that we're as diverse and adaptable to each person, because that's how we want to be treated by healthcare professionals, and because they're not capable of doing that, we're going to do it.
I love it. So that's kind of getting us into the next question. What can listeners expect? Because you won't hear me on this podcast every episode. You will hear Rachel. So what can our listeners expect from this?
We are really hoping to give our listeners the tools that they need for their own personal rewrite of their life. We, of course, want to share success stories. We want to be funny and meaningful. So, we're going to share blind person moments for entertainment and just to feel like there's others out there that have shared life experiences. We want to have interviews of experts so that can help with the knowledge base side of things. We want to provide mental and emotional support because the healthcare system does not have that at all. And that's a real big reason why we say that our nonprofit is for patients by patients, because we want to work with people that haven't learned from a textbook, but have walked in the shoes, that live the life every single day. We want to provide practical tips. And of course, we want to be open to any other ideas that come along from other individuals as we grow.
And I think that's a good segue to say also that even if you're not somebody listening that has a critical condition, a chronic condition from birth, you probably know somebody who does have such a condition. You probably love somebody who has chronic issues. So, this podcast is also for you too. We'll talk about what it's like to be a part of that support team, how we can love better, how we can take care of ourselves too. It's not just a podcast for people with eye conditions that are chronic. This really is for everybody. And it's also good to hear a good story. It's good to hear when, we all root for the underdog. And
Exactly.
so there's no bigger underdog that I've seen in my life than Rachel. So
Thanks, Steph.
yeah.
I mean, I think that was a compliment.
Yeah, I mean, you've accomplished a lot in your life, and you were told that you couldn't, and you
Thank you.
never listened.
Thank you.
Even sometimes when it was like, wait, me? What are we doing?
I do have selective listening. We all can confirm that. Okay. Well, we are hoping that you, as listeners, will join us on our journey starting this podcast, growing the nonprofit. So please subscribe now, share this episode, and follow flipthescript.org on social media. Come along as we change lives one vision at a time. Thank you for joining Flipped. podcast by Flip the Script.